Ayesha Kajee is a political analyst and joins me now from Johannesburg. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, we're hearing reports that Mugabe will stand down shortly. What more do you know about this?
Yes, it appears that he will stand down shortly. Certainly, he has to stand down as leader of the ZANU PF party because that is what they've just decided. There is also meant to be a sitting of the National Assembly on Tuesday, where it is expected that with the majority ZANU PF has in the National Assembly, that he will then be voted out of the leadership of the country as well, and that a new leader will be elected during that parliamentary session. Once again, most likely his former deputy, Emmerson Mnangagwa. However, there is still much uncertainty about the so-called velvet coup that's happened in Zimbabwe and what the route ahead is for the Zimbabwean people and their leadership.
Let's talk a bit more about the route ahead. What will happen to Mugabe now? He's increasingly isolated. And what do you think he'll go completely, or will he remain in some sort of ceremonial position?
He's been fighting the last week to actually remain as president until the end of his term. We've just seen that that is not going to be an option for him. So I think that the next step for him will be to negotiate, and apparently negotiations are already underway, to negotiate political asylum, most likely in the region. There are rumors that the SADC envoys sent by South African President Jacob Zuma have been authorized to offer him such political asylum either in South Africa or in another of the neighboring countries. Of course, some of those countries may not be welcoming to him. For example, Botswana's head has certainly made no bones about his dislike of President Mugabe's recent shenanigans, so that might not be an option for him. But certainly it appears that South Africa or some of the other countries in the region might be an option. He is expected or said to be negotiating total immunity from prosecution both within Zimbabwe and outside. The army appears allegedly to be amenable to this kind of negotiation. So it looks like a soft landing exit is being planned for Mr. Mugabe.
Okay, and Ayesha, what about the possibility of his successor, Emmerson Mnangagwa? Media reports have been calling him, well, this possible succession, going from one tyrant to another. Would you agree with this?
Well, certainly his track record in governance since 1980 is questionable, to say the least. He was Minister of National Security immediately after independence. He was in political isolation for a while. He's made a comeback. That comeback was particularly after the 2008 election, which, as most of the world will probably agree, was a contested election, to say the least. So, he came back into the sort of state security position at that point and as electoral administrative officer for elections at that point. But really his track record perhaps is most questionable in his dealings with the so-called Gukurahundi massacres during the 1980s in Matabeleland in Zimbabwe, where many tens of thousands of Zimbabweans who were opposed to Mr. Mugabe's regime were actually killed, tortured, or sent into exile as a result of the policy of what some have called ethnic killing in Matabeleland.
Okay, Ayesha, thanks so much for your analysis. We'll have to leave it there. Apologies for interrupting you. Ayesha Kajee, a political analyst from Johannesburg.